What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is a beautiful 7 a.m. morning here in Dallas, Texas. HP and I just got back from London late last night.
Hop in.
I can't. The Honda's in the way.
Oh, I forgot about that. Why is he here?
Because it was wrecked, and if you guys haven't checked out one of our latest videos on the curse of the 13 cars, then definitely check that out. Today is our first full day back in Dallas. We have a ton of cars to check in, so it is a perfect time to answer some of the frequently asked questions that we get in the comment section of our videos.
Because we get a lot of the same questions asked, so let's answer them.
The first two cars of the day that need to be checked in is our blue Mazda 2 and our lime green Mazda 2.
It's actually called Booger Green. So the first question we get asked is, what do we do with our cars whenever we're on vacation?
And to be honest, this is probably one of the trickiest aspects of running a Turo fleet, especially one that is larger in size. 3 cars down, 4 to go.
So one of the disadvantages of having a dark car on Turo is that it costs more money a month to operate. What I mean by that is that this car gets dirty all the time, which means that we have to get it washed all the time. Where the other light colors really don't show that much dirt. If there's a light sprinkling or a light rain, this car shows all the time.
And to answer the question of what we do with our cars whenever we're traveling, it is definitely the trickiest aspect of running a Turo fleet. For us, we do a few different things. Number one, we definitely are more strategic with our calendar.
So typically whenever we're home, we only allow a 1 hour block between rentals because I can quickly zip down to the lot, clean the car, check it in, and it's ready to go.
But whenever we're out of town and we have somebody else managing the cars for us, we make this block much larger, and we'll actually manually go in and place like a 5 or 6 hour block between car rental trips. That way whoever's watching our car doesn't have to worry about dropping what they're doing to go check in a car. We don't have to worry about cars not being ready to go if they get rented out. It basically just allows more flexibility.
Speed Club. The Speed Club line, it's only meant for you and my disposal.
Additionally, we also have to worry about Nico while we're gone. We always hire a dog sitter to watch him and watch our house, and so it makes it super easy to kind of hire that person for a dual purpose, to not only watch Nico, watch the house, but also watch the cars. For example, my cousin's fiance used to do it for us, but they had a baby, so now our neighbor does it for us, and it works out really, really well.
Stupid babies. Now eventually we might have to hire some part-time help in order to help us manage these cars on a day-to-day basis, but we really have to get past 14 cars before we can even think about hiring another person.
We got to get past the 13 car curse first.
Yeah.
So 20 to 25 cars, I think that will be the time that we do that. But as of right now, we can manage perfectly well with HP and I, getting some help from family and friends, and hiring the occasional helper as well.
Another thing that we do is that we strategically plan our maintenances and repairs on some of our vehicles whenever we're out of town.
Specifically maintenance and repairs that HP either doesn't have time for or can't do. Like right now, we're gonna go pick up the Ford Escape.
Hello.
How's it drive?
Driving. It steers. Here's that.
That's always a good thing.
So the issue that we had on the Escape was kind of a rare and unusual one. The power steering system had a sensor failure and it turns off the power steering completely. But now you can still steer the car, but there's no power steering, which means you really got to put some muscle, and we can't have a renter driving around with something like that. Though this is something that I can repair myself, with the Mercedes and the van also needing being worked on, it just makes sense to have it done while I'm out of town. That way I don't even have to worry about it.
So in conclusion to the answer of that question, the things that we do with our cars whenever we're gone, we'll strategically plan maintenance, we'll block out the calendars as needed, and of course we'll also get help from family and friends. It's definitely tricky and it oftentimes results in the fleet not being 100% utilized, but you can absolutely manage your fleet, you can make money while you're on vacation. That brings us to the second question, which is where do we store all of our cars? And the answer to that question is we store our cars right over here at our rented parking lot. We currently rent these 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4 on a monthly basis.
So we rent these spaces at $50 a piece, and at $200 a month, that's 4 spaces.
Now, if you're wondering how we're able to get away with the fact that we have 13 cars and 4 spaces, that's because all of our cars are constantly rented out, so we actually don't need spaces to store all of our cars. We just need spaces to park our cars in between rentals, as well as a location for renters to pick up the cars. So 4 spaces has been really plenty for us. And only 2 more to go, one of which is the Kia Rio. Interestingly enough, even though we bought this car a couple of weeks ago, this is the very first rental for this Kia Rio, so I'm pumped to see how it does.
Today's the day!
The holdup with the Kia was the fact that it did have to get windshields replaced, it did need its tires replaced, and so it needed a little bit of work done. We also made the decision not to rent it out while we were gone because we didn't want something to go wrong on it. So it is going out on its very first rental, and we are super pumped.
And that brings us to the question we get asked like the most. How do we have older cars on Turo?
Now, this car right here is not an older car. It's a 2015, which is well within the limit that Turo requires to have listed on their platform. But we do have 2 older cars. We have our 2007 Toyota Yaris and our 2007 Ford Focus. We also have a 2008 Ford Escape, and we have a ton of cars that are well above the 130,000 mile limit set by Turo. And the answer is quite simple.
But first, let's move on to our last car to check in of the day, our Hyundai Sonata.
Now, this is by far the question that we get asked the most. In fact, I would say that we get asked it probably on a daily basis, and I can understand why, because people see us owning these cars that are older with higher mileage, so of course they're wondering how we do it. And the answer is really simple. It has to do with the fact that though Turo does require cars to be 12 years or newer with 130,000 miles or less, they do have a grandfather policy.
And the grandfather clause is stating that as long as we have the cars entered and on the Turo platform within that required time of 12 years and 130,000 miles, anything after that is good to go. So our cars are just older because we've had them on the platform.
So the cars that we listed that are 2007s were listed in like 2018, 2019. Our 2008 was also listed in 2018. Our 2011 was listed last year. So as long as you list these cars while they are 12 years or newer with 130,000 miles or less, they can stay on for as long as you want to. Now, Turo does say that if you start having issues with your cars, if they start being unreliable, then they will take them off. But in our years on Turo, we've never had that happen to us because we keep our cars well maintained.
Because of me. So you can't unfortunately list a 2007, but you can list a 2010.
And you can also list a car that has 129,999 miles.
I wouldn't recommend that though.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. But with that being said, you guys, we wanted to make this video because we get asked these questions all the time, and we thought it was a perfect time to address them because we had so many cars to check in from being gone all last week. Now stay tuned for the coming videos because we do have a ton in the works between the Honda, which, fun fact, I actually got a call on while we were recording this video, so an update will be coming on that very soon, HP fixing the Mercedes, and also trying to get past the unlucky 13, so we have a lot planned in the coming weeks.
But guys, as always, be sure, please, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you on the next episode.